Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Google Hanguk webinar. We'll get started in just a minute or two here. If you have a question during the webinar, feel free to leave it in the chat or the Q&A section. We'll give another couple minutes for everybody to join. Thank you very much for registering beforehand. Just to preview what we'll be going over in the webinar, we'll start with a short presentation by myself. And then after that, we'll give you the opportunity to ask questions, and we'll be able to answer them for you live right here in the webinar. If you do have questions during the presentation, feel free to leave them in the chat, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. All right, since it's now 11 a.m. in Korea, we'll get started with the webinar. Again, hello, everybody. My name's Nathan. I'm the coordinator manager for Google Hanguk, and I'm joined today by Yasti. She's one of the international student coordinators for Google Hanguk, and Yasti will be monitoring the chat and question and answer section. So feel free to type your questions or comments anytime in the chat, and either I'll answer them verbally or Yasti will get back to you via the chat window. See a lot of people saying hello. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on your time zone. And so let's jump into the presentation. And again, feel free anytime to write questions and comments in the chat. So Google Hanguk was started in 2016, and we're actually part of a bigger company called Google World, which started in 2009. So Google Hanguk helps you live and study in Korea, and our company was created for students by students. Our CEO, Davide, was originally a language student in Japan, actually, and he found it very challenging and difficult to complete the application process and receive a visa and find a good school to apply to for language school. So he decided to start Google World in 2009. And then in 2016, the Korea branch, our branch, Google Hanguk, was started. And we've already helped tons of students study long-term as well as short-term in our study trips. And also now with our online courses and Hangul app. So thank you very much for joining us, and we're just going to review our services, as well as how you can study with us in Korea and other ways as well. So Google Hanguk supports you at every stage for living and studying in Korea. We help you with finding and applying to the school of your choice. We help you with finding and reserving accommodations for living in Korea. We help you with your visa. And then once you get to Korea to study, we help you with your experience here in Korea, of course, with living and studying in Korea. And then if you have questions about what you can do after studying in language school, or if you want to continue living in Korea, and of course, we can help you with that as well and kind of explore your options with you. So we'll just review the various ways that you can study with us. And the first one is with attending Korean language school. So these are the main features of Korean language school, and we partner with various schools in Seoul, Busan, and Daegu. During the week, you'll have 4 hours of lessons per day. Depends on the school, but the class may start during the morning around 9 a.m. or in the afternoon around 2 p.m. you'll have class 5 days a week, Monday through Friday during the term. And the courses are designed to be intensive and immersive, so they will give you homework and you are expected to study outside of class in addition to attending class during the term. And you can start during March, June, September, or December. And you can study in a Korean language program for up to 2 years. And as I mentioned, we have schools in 3 different cities, Seoul, Busan, and Daegu. And I'll just review the application timeline for the Korean language schools since there's a variety of stages and steps. So up to 3 months before, we can help you research your options as well as the various language schools that we partner with to find one that fits you and your plan. And at any time during the process, you can contact us with any questions or concerns you have. And also during that time, you can pay the application fee. And the application fee is the one charged by the schools. Google Hanguk itself is free. We don't charge any fees for using our service or asking us questions at any time. And then the next step will be to submit all your application documents once you've selected a school. And there are normally official application periods for each school. However, some of the application documents can be submitted in advance, and we can tell you which ones you can submit and at what time. You'll also then pay the tuition fee once you've submitted all the application documents. And after you pay the tuition fee and the school's received it, they will issue your certificate of admission. If you want to study long-term with a visa, this is the document that allows you to apply for the visa at your Korean embassy or consulate. And then you'll, of course, book your flight. And then we can help you with accommodations if you need help finding lodging while you're living and studying in Korea. We'll review the types we can help you with later. And we can also help you with getting a local SIM card or eSIM for your phone. And we can also help you book an airport transfer if you need it to be picked up for the airport. And then once you get to Korea, if you need help with registering for your residence card with immigration, then we can also help you with that. And then you'll start language school and enjoy your time here in Korea. I see we've already gotten quite a few questions here. I believe Yasti has answered them in the chat as well. Feel free to keep leaving your questions or comments in the chat, and we'll definitely get back to you as soon as possible. The next way that you can study with us is through something called a visiting program. And currently our partner Hanyang University hosts the visiting program. This is a special temporary study abroad program for current university students that have finished at least one semester in their home university. So the great thing about the visiting program is that your home university doesn't need any formal agreement with Hanyang to study in their visiting program. You can simply apply, and then you can actually study abroad for up to 1 academic year. And the program at Hanyang actually has courses in both English and Korean available. So even if you don't know Korean, you can still study and sign up for courses and take them in English. If you do know Korean, then of course you can also sign up for the courses that are given in Korean language as well. For the courses you take during the visiting program, you will receive an official transcript. So if you need that for credit at your home university, then of course you can provide that transcript to receive credit. And if you have any other requirements for credit, then just let us know. We can ask Hanyang if they can provide that to you, whether it's a syllabus or specific documentation. Another great thing about the visiting program is that there's no specific GPA or language proficiency required. So you can register even regardless of your GPA, and you don't have to have any official like English test scores or even Korean scores. You can just register regardless of those as well. And for the visiting program, slightly different than the Korean language programs, there's only 2 intakes per year for March and September. So March would be the spring term intake, and then September is the fall. And these are the 2 main semester starts for Korea for all universities. The next way you can study with us are study trips. So the study trips are a short-term program, and they are typically 2 to 3 weeks long. And the great thing about the study trips is that they include your Korean language lessons, your accommodations, and activities throughout the study trip. And for the activities, there's normally like 2 to 3 activities per week. And we offer different plans depending on your budget and how many activities you want to participate in. So for example, if maybe you've been to Korea before and you've already done a lot of different things within Korea, and maybe you just want to focus on studying the language, or you want more free time, there's a plan for you. Or if you want to do a lot of activities, and maybe this would be your first time to Korea, and you want to experience a lot of different things during the study trip, and of course there's another plan that includes many more activities. And our staff will help you along the way. There will be activity coordinators that go to the activities with you that can also speak Korean, so you don't have to worry about any communication issues. If there's things that would need interpretation, then they of course will interpret for you or translate for you, so you don't need to worry about feeling lost or not being able to understand things while you're in Korea. We get participants from all over the world for our study trips. We will actually start our spring course study trip at the end of this month, and we're now accepting applications for our study trips for the summer into the later part of the year for autumn as well. And as I just mentioned, we offer study trips during the spring, summer, and fall. And you can still register for all the study trips except the spring one currently. The last section here on the ways you can stay with us are through our online courses and our Hangul app called Hangul Quest. So in collaboration with some of our partner schools, we've developed online courses, and the online courses are pre-recorded video courses, which you can take at your own pace. You're welcome to start and stop the lessons as you wish and complete the lessons at whatever pace you wish. They're designed to match the levels exactly at the Korean language programs that they were developed by. So we currently offer them from Hanyang and Dongguk. And the courses themselves, besides the videos, they also include things like worksheets and homework. And you can also receive an official certificate from the school if you pass the final exam and also fulfill a couple other requirements, such as submitting the video homework and things like that. So if you get the official certificate and then later you decide you want to study in Korea, you can actually start from the next level up with the official certificate you get from the online course. We also offer an online community where you can engage with others while you're taking the course. So if you have questions about the material or the Korean language lessons, you can ask them to each other and also help each other with the course material. The other item which I mentioned is Hangul Quest. And Hangul Quest is an app that we developed to help you learn the Korean alphabet, which is Hangul. And you can download it from Google Play or the App Store. It's available on both. And it's a fun and interactive tool to study the Korean alphabet. And as you can see from the screenshot here, it gives you an example in the stroke order, and you can go through and learn all the different characters in the alphabet so that you're ready to study in Korea or even online and be completely familiar with the Korean alphabet before you start. I just want to touch on the accommodation options that we have available if you study in Korea. These are the 4 different types we currently assist with. They're a share house, the dormitory, Goshiwon, and homestay. And the share houses are going to be their apartments or homes in Korea where you will rent out a bedroom, and then the other bedrooms will also be rented out to other tenants. They can be both Korean or other international students or even people working in Korea as well. And you would either have your own bedroom, or there are some bedrooms that also are shared, so there's more than one bed in the room. And they're located all over the Seoul area. Currently, we can only support share houses in the Seoul area, but maybe later we can start expanding this service to other cities as well. And we work with a variety of partners with a variety of different types of accommodations. So, from freestanding houses to apartments to villas to other types of accommodations as well. So if you contact us and need assistance with that, then we can provide more information about our partners, and you can explore the different options they have. For the dormitories, those are in association with our university partner schools. The dormitories are open to the language students, and for the dormitories, it depends on which school you apply to regarding like the types of rooms or the features of dormitories. So once you pick a school, we can let you know the specific dormitory information. The dormitories would be on campus, so it would be a very short walk to your language class, as opposed to the share houses, which may require a commute to school, depending on how far away they are from your chosen school. And then for the Goshiwons, those are also located near our language school partners. So normally people choose one that's within walking distance to their school. As you can see from the small picture there, they have a bed and desk and some other furnishings. And for the Goshiwons that we partner with, almost all of them also include a bathroom in your room as well. Some of the older style Goshiwons don't, but most ones now, they do include individual bathrooms, which I know is appreciated by our students. You don't have to choose one that's near your language school. You can actually choose one that's near another school or in a neighborhood that you prefer if you want. And we can let you know the different partners that we have available for Goshiwons as well. And then our last type of accommodation is a homestay. And a homestay is living with a Korean host family. And for the homestay, you would have your own bedroom and you would live in the home by the Korean host family. And you may share other accommodations like the living room or kitchen or bathroom and things like that. The good thing about the homestay is that, of course, you have the opportunity to practice your Korean language with your host family and experience Korean living with that family. And the homestay families are located in more residential areas of town, so you may also require public transport to get to school. Let's see, I see Esty answering more questions here. I believe she's been answering all of them. And we can come back to the questions, and also we can answer them in more detail after the presentation if needed. I see many people left questions here in the Q&A section as well, so we'll be sure to address those soon as well. Some of you asked about working in Korea, so we'll just touch on that really quickly. If you're a D41 visa student, which is the visa for Korean language studies in a university program, then you do qualify to work part-time. This is after you've been in Korea for 6 months. So you get to Korea, you study for 6 months, and then after that, you are able to qualify to work part-time. So normally you can work up to 20 hours per week during a term if you have a certain TOPIK score, and the TOPIK is the test of proficiency in Korean, which is the official government test for Korean proficiency. If you don't have that level 2 or up, then your hours are actually reduced. And for working part-time in Korea, normally people do this to help cover their cost of living in Korea, maybe pay their rent, pay their monthly groceries, and other recurring costs like that. And if you decide to stay in Korea even longer than for Korean language school or something like that, then of course it's a good way to build up your Korean language skills and add something to your resume while you're studying in language school. In relation to that, here's some estimates for cost of living. And of course, it'll vary a little bit depending on your lifestyle or your spending habits, your accommodation, and things like that. But these are just some general estimates for studying for 6 months, for example. So you can see here the cost of the Korean language course, the cost of your accommodations, and things like health insurance and transportation, if you need a SIM card, food budget, and other things, incidentals, toiletries, things like that. We normally tell you to bring at least or have available US dollars $10,000 for studying for 6 months. And again, this may vary depending on your accommodation choice or your spending habits. If you want to study even longer, then you can of course scale this to longer for a year or longer than that. Also, we do have a cost of living calculator on our website. So if you plug in certain options and numbers into that, you can see just a general estimate of how much money you should bring for your certain choices, whether it's the school choice and then the type of accommodation and other recurring costs you may have per month. So you can use that tool on our website as well. So here's a quick comparison of the advantages of using our service rather than not using Google Hanguk. So Google Hanguk's in daily contact with our schools and our partners. A lot of times the school websites or other resources may have outdated information. We are based in Korea, so we have direct access to our school partners, our accommodation partners, and other information coming out in Korea as it is live. So we can give you the most updated information for you during the application process. We've also looked at all the application information for our schools and made it as simple and easy as possible. And we also check your documents as you complete them to make sure that they'll be accepted by the schools. Alternatively, if you don't use our service, it can be more complex. You may not know if your documents will actually be accepted by the school until the school looks at everyone's documents during the application period. So of course we can check them in advance to make sure they're accepted. We can answer all of your questions about the documents and get back to you in a timely fashion. We provide all the information to you for this seminar, we're targeting English speakers, but we also support other languages as well. And we have coordinators that can help you also in Spanish, in Italian, and German and French and Swedish. So we can provide you with direct support in all of those languages, and also provide you specific information regarding your nationality as well. So we can provide that specific information to you rather than having to rely it on the Korean information directly, or even only having it in, say, English when your first language is not English. As I mentioned, we can provide quick and efficient updates to you, and get back to you maybe even quicker than the school would originally. The language schools have hundreds and hundreds of applicants each term, and sometimes they only have one person providing support to you, to all those students each term. So for us, we can provide quick updates to you, and also check your documents, as I mentioned, as you're completing them, to make sure that they're going to be accepted by the school. So in terms of the presentation, that will be all for the slides. Thank you very much for joining the webinar presentation. And right now we'll get to all your questions. I see there's many in the question and answer section, and you can also continue to leave us messages in the chat. Again, I've been Nathan. I'm the coordinator manager for Global Hanguk, and Yasti, who's joining me as one of the international student coordinators, who's been addressing your questions and comments in the chat. I'm not sure if the Q&A section questions were answered directly in the chat, so I'll just go through those as well and answer them just in case. Someone asked a question about the Youth Korea trip. Is there any shopping experience? I'm not sure specifically what you reference with shopping experiences, but you will have time to go shopping if you want. When you're not doing activities or in language school, then you do have free time, so you're welcome to go shopping as you want. And you asked if you'll receive the information about the homestay family prior to the trip. Yes, you'll receive the homestay family's information about 2 weeks before you arrive, so feel free to contact them in advance and say hi, introduce yourself. Someone asked if it's easy to get a part-time job while studying. I mean, that really depends on the job market and your own personal background, the skills you have. So I can't say for certain if it's going to be easy or hard. However, there are many language school students that do search for part-time jobs while they're studying. Another thing to mention about that is that normally the schools want you to have a very high attendance and also a high grade to study and work, to make sure that you're going to be keeping your grades up and also attending class even if you have a job. So you can check with your individual language school regarding that. But normally they want you to have like 90% or higher attendance, and also like a certain grade, maybe, I don't know, an 80% average or something like that. It really depends on the school. Joseph asked, do you help with opening a bank account? We can't directly help with opening a bank account. However, many of the language schools have a bank on campus, which is very, very familiar with helping students open bank accounts. And depending on your nationality, normally you need your passport and eventually your Korean residence card, which you'll apply for in Korea. And then, again, depending on your nationality, you may need to complete other documentation for the bank, but it's fairly simple once you have that information with you. Another question, if I want to study using the H-1 visa, do you have any tips on finding part-time jobs? Again, it'll really depend on your background, your skills, the job market at the time. We can't directly assist with finding part-time jobs, but you are able to work part-time using the H-1 visa, as you said, which is the working holiday visa. Another question, if you do the language school program at Hanyang, is it more likely that they'll accept you for university studies? I mean, it really depends on a lot of factors for university admission for undergrad or graduate school. The language school will provide you with the Korean language background if you need it for admission. However, there's many other factors that are considered for undergraduate admission. So in terms of the Korean language requirement, then yes, it'll help you with that. But for the other requirements, like say your grade point average or your other admission requirements, that will depend on other factors. Question about the study trips. For the study trips, do older people attend the language courses? Well, I guess older is all relevant. So in terms of the study trips, we have participants as young as the minimum age of 18 all the way up and until their 40s, 50s, 60s. So yes, I guess if you consider that old, then yes, older people apply for the study trips as well. We have people from all over the world apply, as well as all different ages. So don't feel like if you're not, say, 18 to 25, that you'll feel excluded. There are definitely people that are all different ages that apply to the study trips. Question about the, I guess, Korean language course. Do you have to retake the class if you can't keep up? If so, could you still complete all stages within the set time period? So if you don't pass a level, then you'll have to retake it until you do pass. And if you didn't have to redo a level, then you can complete the core curriculum, which is 6 levels in about 18 months. Each level takes about 3 months to complete, and there are normally 6 levels in the core curriculum. So that gives you the opportunity to, I guess, redo a level twice within that 2-year time period that you're given on the D41 visa. So even if you have to redo a level, even if you have to redo 2 levels, then yes, you can still complete the whole curriculum within 2 years. Are you required to open a bank account in Korea? You're not required to, but I would recommend doing it, especially if you're studying long-term in Korea. It'll just make your life so much more convenient. Your Korean bank account is used to connect to other applications as well, for online shopping, for mobile apps. The certificate you receive from a bank account is also used to confirm your identity in some instances. So it'll make your life a lot more convenient and easier if you do have a Korean bank account while you're living and studying in Korea. Are flights included? No, they are not. You're responsible for your flight booking and the cost of your flight, whether you study in Korean language school or the study trips. In terms of when to book and finding an affordable flight, that'll really depend on where you're flying from, the time of year you're flying, the day you're flying. So I recommend maybe setting a notification on some online travel agencies. So I don't know, maybe you use Expedia or something like that, Google Flights, whatever you use. I would set a notification for a price or a time period to make sure that you can get a flight according to your budget. You can see all the activities listed for the study trips on our website. So if you go to gogohankook.com, click on the study trips, you can find all the activities already listed for each trip. A question about when the bank balance is checked. So if you want to study for 6 months or more, that would qualify you for the visa. And then your bank statement is checked during the application period. So for example, if you wanted to start this coming June, we're in the middle of the application period now. So you need to submit your bank statement either right now or very soon, depending on the school you apply to. And that's when you have to have your required bank balance in your bank account. Someone asked the difference between Seoul and Busan. Just in terms of population, Seoul has about half the population in Korea living in Seoul and its surrounding metro area. So, that's almost about 25 million people, give or take. Busan is a lot less, even though it's the second most populous city in Korea. It's still a lot less than Seoul. So I think right now the population is actually less than 5 million in Busan proper, but maybe if you include all the metro area around, it's between 5 to 10 million people. And then, of course, with Busan, you're near to the beach. There's like two very popular beaches in Busan, but of course, there are other coastal areas as well you can explore. You're very close to, say, Japan, so you can even take a ferry to Japan if you want from Busan. Also, maybe you want to enjoy the dialect down in Busan, so you can pick up on the dialect in Busan as well. Even if you learn Korean in Busan or Daegu, you'll still learn like the regular dialect, the regular one that's spoken like in the Seoul and Gyeonggi-do area. But living in those local areas, you can pick up on the local dialect if you'd like. The cost of living in Busan is going to be lower than Seoul. It's still going to be relatively higher since it's the second largest city, but definitely lower than the Seoul area. So you could save some money by living in Busan, and also the tuition costs in Busan are lower than Seoul. So those are just some of the differences. Yeah, for another question about the homestay for the Youth Korea study trip, you're going to be with at least one other participant in the homestay. So don't worry about being all alone with the homestay. You'll definitely have at least one person with you. And another question about the study trip for activities. What will be provided for transportation? Normally, we'll just take public transportation. So we'll provide you with a public transportation card, and then you can use that during the study trip to take subway or buses. You can actually use that card for things like taxis as well. In some convenience stores, they also take the transportation card as payment. So you just load money onto that, and then you can use it throughout your time here in Korea. How much money do I need for the study trip? You can see the price depending on the plan on our website. And then, of course, you'll need money for your flight and for things like incidentals and food. So if you have specific questions about how much money you should budget, then please contact us. And again, I'm Nathan. I'm the coordinator manager for Global Hanguk, and Yasti is joining me, one of our student coordinators, and still answering questions and commenting back in the chat. So thank you very much for all of your comments and questions so far. We still have some time, so I will continue to answer your questions that you left in the Q&A section here. Let's see. Does Google Hanguk help with the residence card application? We can provide you with the general things you need to prepare for that, but either you'll apply through your language school or you'll have to apply through immigration directly yourself. Unfortunately, we can't do that for you. So if you have any general questions about what you need to prepare, then we can definitely help you with that. Someone asked about an extension. So let's say you started studying with like 6 months and you wanted to study another 6 months. Then do you still need the same bank balance? No, you don't. It really depends on your nationality, or it could depend on some other things, but sometimes immigration asks for a bank statement. Sometimes they don't. It just depends on a couple different factors. Also, the bank balance will not be as high. It won't be like 10. It normally won't be like 10 million won. It would probably be something lower depending on how long you extended. Do you have any scholarships or anything to help reduce the costs? Gokul Hanguk doesn't directly administer any scholarships. Some of our schools have small like rewards or refunds after, say, you study a term. Like let's say you're studying for a year, then depending on maybe like your attendance or you're the top student in your class, the schools may give you some discounts for future terms, or they may refund you part of the tuition. But it really depends on the school, and then of course your performance in language school. What is the process for extending your studies? So many of the schools will simply just ask you to pay the tuition for more terms. So that extension period is normally like after your midterm. So around the middle of the term, you'll get notification of the extension period, you'll pay the tuition, and then if you need to also extend your residence card, your visa period, then you can also get the documents for that after you pay the tuition. So it's much easier than when you initially applied. The visa for the study trips, you don't need any specific visa for most nationalities. You just come here as a tourist. So you just come with your visa-free tourist period, and then you can enjoy the study trip that way. If I have a work-from-home job and they approve me working in Korea, am I able to continue in Korea while learning, or is that or do I need a different visa? So remote work is kind of a gray area. However, if you're not, working for a Korean company, getting paid to like a Korean bank account, then I would just double check with like, say, an accountant. Make sure that your tax situation is worked out, and also the labor law and like where you're moving from and working in Korea here as well, so you don't violate the terms of your visa. So yeah, a lot of things to check before you decide to move here if you do have a remote job. Will there ever be field trips for Korean language school? Normally the schools have like one or two like field trips or cultural activities depending on the term. So just you'll have to check with your school. It really depends on the school and the term and like the term schedule, because the Korean language curriculum is the main focus while you're in the Korean language program. So maybe they might take you to a museum, or you might do some art activity, or go see a performing arts performance or something like that. But those are just some examples. Can I rent a room by myself? We do have individual accommodations like the Goshiwan, or you can get an individual bedroom in a share house. So yes, we do have some options for you there. You can see the dates for the study trips on the individual study trip pages on our website. And what are the safety precautions for the study trips? I'm not specifically sure what you're asking, but you are chaperoned for all the activities. Of course, you're with your teachers and language school staff at language school. And public transportation in Korea is very safe and efficient. If you have any specific questions about safety and security during the trip, just let us know. You can contact us directly. Can you guys help get the seal? I'm not sure what you mean by that. I guess maybe you're referring to like a name seal that maybe you've seen online that Koreans use to like officially sign documents. I'm guessing you're not asking about the animal. If you have questions about that, then just you can contact us. Actually, these days you don't necessarily need a name seal. It's kind of going out of fashion for some other, just a regular signature, or even electronic, approval of your identity. So, but you can contact us if you have questions about that. I've already answered about the visas or study trips. We can also get you airport transport in Busan through our one of our language schools. Unfortunately for Daegu, if you fly into Daegu, to be honest, it's probably easier just to take a taxi from the airport if you fly directly into Daegu. How many people usually go on the study trips? It really depends on the trip, but normally we have 15 to 20 people, like at the most for the study trips. So if you have any more questions about the application process or anything like that, just contact us. And we're still accepting applications for all our study trips that are open. So don't worry about the spots. There's still plenty of spots left. Yeah, for the visa questions, I recommend contacting us directly because we need to know like how long you're studying, what school you're going to, when you're going to start. So that will determine if you need a visa or not. And for the study trip, you can just apply and you just need a passport and pay the fees. And again, for most people, you can just come as a tourist, so you don't need any specific visa. And that's all you need to do to apply for the study trip. There's really no other specific requirements. For the trips, for the adults, you do need to be 18 years old or older. And then for the youth trip, you need to be between 14 and 17 years old. What accommodation type do you offer? What accommodation type will be suitable for a 2-week stay? If you're gonna only be here for 2 weeks and maybe you're gonna study at like our private academy partners, like Lex Korea or LTL, then we can help you with say a Goshiwon or a homestay or something like that. So just contact us with your language school choice and we can help you out with what would be most appropriate for you. Does a Goshiwon in Busan come with a bathroom in the rooms? Yes, it does. So someone asked about the bank account balance. If you want visa sponsorship, then you need to have a certain bank account balance. And currently it's around 10 million won for studying with a visa long term. So yes, you need to provide that in advance during the application period. After studying and working, how long do you need to stay for citizenship in Korea? That really depends on a bunch of different factors. So if you want to naturalize in Korea, it can take quite a while. Unfortunately, we don't really have any direct information about naturalization, but definitely learning Korean language is a good first step to staying long-term in Korea, either as a long-term resident, permanent resident, or naturalizing. Would I be able to get help renting my own apartment? Currently, we can't help with direct leasing of individual apartments in Korea. However, you're welcome to find one yourself and rent your apartment. You'll need your residence card to do so, though. So maybe you want to find something temporary beforehand, and then you can rent your own apartment later. Is there an assessment test done by the language school? Yes, you can take a placement test before you start studying. If you have some Korean language skills already, you can take the test to make sure you're placed in the right level for your skill. And I've already addressed the activities that you may have if you study in a university program. Again, it'll just depend on the school, the term, and what the university normally does for their students. So yes, I believe many of you have been also putting more questions and comments in the chat as well. Thank you very much for your participation. And please do contact us directly using our contact form after this if you have any other specific questions, especially if it's relating to things like a visa or accommodations, since we'll need to know a little bit more information about you to provide you with answers about those things. And we have a little bit more time left, so if you do have any further comments, questions, or concerns, we'll be happy to answer those for you right now. We have some more questions in the Q&A section here. For the Gochiwans and the study trip, they will be around other people on the trip. So I'm guessing you're asking if the people that attend the study trip will live near each other. Yes, they'll all be, within walking distance to the language school. You may not all be in the same building, but you'll all be in very close proximity, like maybe within a 10 to 15 minute walk of each other, even if you're in different buildings. If I went to Korea on a working holiday visa or the digital nomad visa, will you still help with applying to schools? Yes, we will. Can I still study on the D4 visa if I'm planning on getting married, or should I proceed with applying for the F6? That's really up to you. You can still study Korean on the F6 visa, which is the Korean spouse visa, or you're welcome to start on the D4 1 visa. It's really up to you and your plans. Do you need to learn Korean to be able to teach English? Not necessarily, but it can also be a great help to know Korean, since you'll be living and working in Korea to know Korean. It may depend on your employer too. Maybe your employer wants you to know some Korean. Maybe the employer doesn't care and they're okay with you just knowing English. Thanks again for your questions, and hope we have provided you with some helpful information here about our service, Gogo Hanguk, as well as in general about living and studying in Korea. We will do another webinar later this year during the fall. So if you want to have a review of this information again, or you have other questions that you've thought of, then feel free to participate in the fall webinar. It will also be free of charge. So we look forward to seeing you during the fall as well. We'll give you another maybe 5 minutes or so. We'll take questions and then we'll wrap it up for this webinar. Just as a reminder, you can apply now for the June 2025 term or later, as well as all our remaining 2025 study trips. For the online courses, you can actually start those anytime you wish. They're video on demand pre-recorded lessons, so you can start and stop them as you wish. Let's go back to the chat here. Yeah, so I'm looking at, again, someone that's looking to teach English in Korea. It's not necessarily a requirement to know Korean, but it would definitely be helpful. So I see a lot of people saying thank you, so you're very welcome. You can, of course, join our fall webinar as well if you still have questions about our service or want a review of this information. Feel free to contact us anytime. With any questions as well, I see Yesti's put the link to our contact form in the chat. As I mentioned, we'll also do a webinar during the fall. So if you did miss part or the majority of this webinar, don't worry, we'll have it again during the fall. And of course, if you have other specific questions, you can contact us using the contact form on our website. For the study trip, for like the basic and premium plan, the Korean language course is exactly the same. The only difference is like the amount of activities included. So with the basic plan, you basically have more free time for yourself rather than having planned activities. So we unfortunately we don't have any direct job finding services, so we can't give you information about what you need to teach English in Korea. I would contact prospective employers about that. It may depend on the individual employer and things like that. So, but if you do want to start with learning Korean, since you'd be living in Korea for your job, then we can definitely help you with a Korean language program. All right, we'll give you a couple more minutes to ask your questions, and then we will conclude this webinar for today. Again, thank you very much, everyone, for participating and attending. We're glad to provide you with this information about Gogo Hanguk, living and studying in Korea. Again, we will have another webinar, again, free of charge during the fall. So if you have other questions, of course, you can contact us anytime using our contact form. Or if you'd like to participate in the webinar again, then we will have the webinar during the fall as well. Someone's very concerned about the weather during the summer. Yes, Korea is quite hot and humid during the summer. However, there are still a lot of people that decide to come during the summer. Some people enjoy the heat and humidity, actually. Like maybe they're from a very cold climate, so they'd rather it be very, very warm during the summer. In terms of the monsoons, yes, it does rain, and there will be thunderstorms during the summer. That's just the nature of living in Korea. I mean, Korea experiences 4 very distinct seasons each year. So yes, the summer is a bit hot and humid, but some people really actually enjoy that. Seems to be people saying thank you. Again, you're very welcome. Thank you for participating and joining the webinar. And someone asked, are there several plans? For the study trips, we normally offer at least 2 plans, depending on the trip. And then in terms of studying Korean language, just at our different partner schools, you can study for a variety of different lengths, as short as 1 week, as long as like 2 years. You can choose from a variety of schools. We're always adding new schools. So you can kind of find a plan or school that fits your schedule. And yeah, we normally save the webinar video for later. So, however, in general, this information is also provided on our website, as well as other videos, other social media that we have as well. So you can find pretty much the same information in the webinar and from other resources as well. We'll take just 1 or 2 more questions, and then we will wrap up the webinar. See. Regarding part-time work, normally people use the part-time job to help pay for their cost of living in Korea. Usually you can't work enough hours to, like, say, fully pay for the language school tuition, especially if you don't have like a topic level 2 or higher. So I would think of the part-time job as something to help with your cost of living, maybe pay your rent, pay for your food, things like that. Are there any meal plans? It depends on the language school, actually. Some offer them to the language school students, others don't. Can we join Hanyang University activities like as sports, cultural activities, and so on? I think it will depend on, like, say, if you're a language student or a visiting program student, and then like what activities are going on when you're studying. If there's like a club or something like that, then you're welcome to look into joining that club if it's active, like if there's a sports or cultural club that you're interested in. Alrighty, we have reached 12 noon here in Korea, so we will wrap up the webinar for today. Thank you very much again for joining and participating in this webinar. We will have another one about Google Hanguk service and living and studying in Korea during the fall. Feel free to contact us anytime using our contact form. And we are currently accepting applications for the June 2025 term or later, as well as our remaining 2025 study trips. Again, I'm Nathan. I'm the coordinator manager for Google Hanguk. I'm joined by Yasti, one of our international student coordinators. Thank you, Yasti, for answering all the questions in the chat and supporting us during the webinar. And we will see you later. Bye-bye, everybody. Thanks again.